Hello, and welcome to Guidance for Better Life. Today my guest is going to share an adventure she had which is profound. When she was 11 years old, she did a contemplation and she saw her aunt who had passed recently in heaven. But not only her aunt, but other relatives. I think great-grandmother and some other folks. We'll ask her. But it was a very real experience. It touched her deeply, and I think it'll enlighten a lot of folks out there what's possible. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Del.
This is Michelle Rushling, and it's a really neat story. Your story's in Visit Loved Ones in Heaven, one of our dozen or so books. They're audio books and ebooks and all. And this story, I think we called it Reunion in Heaven, Part 3.
Yes.
Because your mom and your dad wrote a story in this book, and you also did. How did it start out? Your mom, you were 11 years old, and Aunt Mildred, right? That was your mom's?
She was my mom's great aunt.
Great aunt.
Yes.
She passed, and why did you get together with your family?
So Aunt Mildred had passed away, and she lived a couple hours away from us. So we hadn't seen her since several months before, and we wanted to say goodbye to her on the inner.
How old was she?
She was in her late 90s, maybe 97 or 98 when she passed.
Good gene pool.
Yeah.
So I think in your story, you weren't intending to do anything really fancy. You were going to sing Hugh.
Yes.
H-U, a love song to God. Let's do it just for a moment.
Sure.
Hugh. And you're going to send love and gratitude to God and hope that you're basically just wishing her well goodbye.
Right.
And that was your intent, right?
Right. I think we wanted to send some love to Aunt Mildred also.
Okay, send love.
Yeah.
And send love to God, and maybe he could work it out so she felt your love.
Right.
And wishing her goodbye.
Yeah.
But it turned out more than that.
Yes.
So what happened?
So on the inner, I'm not sure how the experience started. We were singing Hugh, and then I think in the quiet time afterwards, I was walking through a meadow, and it was kind of like with wild flowers. It was a really beautiful scene. And there was a clearing in the middle of it, and in the middle of it, there was white wrought iron table and chairs with some people sitting at them.
I can picture that. I think we had that same set when I grew up. White wrought iron. And who was sitting at the table?
I had a feeling of who they were, but in the experience, I wasn't positive. It was after when I shared the experience with my mom that she confirmed who I saw. But it was Aunt Mildred, and then her sister, who was my great-grandmother, and then my mom's father, who had also passed.
Okay.
So
many years earlier.
Yes.
Two of them had passed prior to Aunt Mildred.
Right.
So why were they sitting together? To argue, or did they still like each other?
They were just sitting around enjoying each other's company. It seemed like they were all happy to see Aunt Mildred, like they were welcoming her there. And I think they looked like old friends just enjoying each other's company.
It sounds like what they do here.
Right.
They just hang out, family, friends, or barbecue, and just enjoying each other's company.
Right.
Did they seem to still love each other?
Definitely, yes.
Okay. And you said you felt that that's who they were, but you weren't clear. How did your mom figure out who they were?
So when I was very little, I knew my great-grandmother, and then she passed away. So I'd seen photos of her, and I hadn't really seen photos of my grandfather who had passed, which was my mom's dad. So I saw a gentleman sitting there who had dark hair, and I kind of described his features to my mom, and just based on who the other two people were, she said it sounded like my grandfather.
So without ever having met him, you basically described what he kind of looked like in this experience, and then she put two and two together.
Yes.
That's really cool.
It was really neat.
So is there anything else? What did you learn from this, or was there more to this experience?
I learned a couple of things from the experience. One was that even after we pass, our bodies pass away, but as soul we live on.
Right.
And the love that we have for people in the physical continues after we die, which I knew, but to see that experience firsthand was at 11 years old, really.
And that was at 11. That was the first, in your story you said that was the first experience with somebody passing.
Yes.
So
yeah.
It's pretty cool in your first experience to find out there's a silver lining there.
Right.
You may miss the people here, but God can allow you, which he did, the divine allowed you to go visit spiritually. Do you feel you actually went as soul or was it in your imagination?
It was definitely as soul.
For real, you really went.
Right. I could see maybe as an 11-year-old seeing my grandma or my great-grandmother, but seeing somebody who I didn't even know who it was in the physical
Okay.
shows that it was
So it was very real.
right.
Okay.
Yes. Another thing I learned from the experience is it was one of my first experiences with soul travel that I remembered. And so it really showed me how real it is. And it's been something 20 years later that I still remember very vividly.
And for folks that aren't familiar with the word soul, at the school up here, the retreat center, we have a lot of experience with this. And what you're sharing is we have our lower physical body with our mind and our thoughts and our passions, anger, fear, worry, and all that. But as soul, the eternal part of you, it doesn't have some of those problems. And it's boundless. Like you physically couldn't go to heaven and see your aunt and the other folks.
Right.
But as soul, you could. So that's soul traveling. As soul, you traveled to the heaven where they were, and you got to visit. Then you came back into your body. But soul is the eternal part of us. Let me explain it this way. When you pass away, your body stays here and is buried or cremated or whatever. But the part that's really you, this ball of light made of the Holy Spirit, it's unique in a way. It's your own thoughts, your opinions, your own love, who you love, your own intelligence. That part of you that's the real you leaves the physical body and actually goes on, and they left their physical bodies, but then God gave them another body that looked virtually the same. By the way, how did they look? Really old or good or young? Or
they looked younger than they would have been when I last saw them. More like the prime of their life, maybe.
Okay, like
40s.
You said they were happy, vibrant, light.
Right.
So usually God, you don't need your old body. Once it's gone, it is gone. And a lot of people misunderstand that. Soul goes on, and God in heaven will give you a different body that looks very similar, but generally healthy in the prime of your life. If you have an illness or an auto accident or something that takes your body away, God will give you a new body. And then when you reincarnate, you get a new body. A body, and I hadn't planned on covering this, so I hope you don't mind.
Sure.
But you brought up soul traveling, which is a beautiful topic. When you leave your body, it's gone forever. But when you come back and reincarnate, God will give you a new body. You're born, you have a mom and dad, and you get a brand new body. So you don't have to mourn the old body. Your relatives got a brand new body, but God gave them one that looked like them.
Right.
But only in the prime of their life. So it wasn't a loss. He gave them something new. Right. So I don't know if you knew all that when you're 11 years old.
I don't think so.
It's mostly now that you realize that. But we do that a lot up in the school. We leave our bodies so we can go visit loved ones in heaven if God allows us to. And this book, Visit Loved Ones in Heaven, I think we have 30 or 40, 37, something like that. It's been a while since we published this. Stories similar to yours. Your mom and dad wrote their version of that. So we have like 35 other stories of people visiting loved ones in heaven, either in dreams or an experience like you had, where they soul traveled. God let them leave their body, the eternal them, and went off and saw loved ones. It's really pretty cool. There's so much that's possible with God. So anyway, a little digressing, because a lot of people don't know what soul travel is. At school, we do it all the time up here at retreat centers,
Right.
But it's something so common to us, but I think it's very uncommon knowledge for most folks. It's like dying daily, like St. Paul said. He died of his little self daily and became better, but also he literally soul traveled daily, like once up to the third heaven. So anyway, anything else you'd like to share? Now that you're not 11 anymore.
She had passed away, and then so quickly we were given the opportunity to see her, and that was a huge gift from God to all of us to see her, because, you know, as you said in the book, we all had similar experiences. They were each our own unique, but they overlapped, and just for all of us to be able to see her so quickly was a huge gift.
And that's why we publish your stories, because your mom saw it a little bit different. Your dad saw some folks that he didn't know who they were, but he explained how they looked or what they said and how they acted. And your mom knew who they were because this is your mom's family.
Right.
So it's beautiful, and it adds a lot of validity when you're 11, your mom and dad were not 11. I'm not sure how old they were. You sat and did a hue, wanting to wish Aunt Mildred well and say goodbye and send her love, as you said. And God bless you all three with it, almost the same experience.
Yes.
It was almost like three people go visit someone. They would each have a slightly different view. Or if you drive by a building, some might see the door, the gardener out front or something, or some might see the whole building, but it's the same building. So it's really neat that all three of you, and even at 11, you remember that. So these things are possible, and if you want to know more about that, many of our books have examples of this, but especially this book, Visit Loved Ones in Heaven. And I believe this may be an audiobook now and also an ebook. So I hope this opens up some possibilities to you all. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you, Dale.
And these are very real experiences. There's so much, when you have a relationship with God, so much that's possible with His help. So thank you for watching, and I hope this is an interesting story and maybe an exciting one. And next time you have a dream or an experience where you truly feel you met one of your loved ones that's passed, please consider it was a real experience. If you totally blow it off and you don't believe that it's all possible, then what you're doing, you're giving up the ability to accept that gift of love from God. And if you least consider that it's real, then you're able to accept the gift that God has given you. And I know a lot of people have these experiences, so I hope you at least consider accepting the gift. And thank you for watching today. We appreciate it very much.